The second report, tonight under the principal's report is the spring athletic report. This is given 3 times a year after the fall, winter, and spring seasons. So at this point, I'd like to call up our assistant principal for athletics, Brendan Curtin, and the report begins on page 15 of the board book.
Thank you, Kristen. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen of the board. I'd like to share a brief summary on the accomplishments of our spring athletic programs and the teams and what they've accomplished the past few months. Before I do so, though, throughout the 10 varsity sports offered this past spring, we had 26 athletes earn Metro Suburban Conference All-Conference status, 11 girls and 10 boys. The boys track team was highlighted by class of 2019 student athlete Christopher Magno, represented the program at the IHSA state meet at Eastern Illinois and ran a personal record of 2 minutes, 0.9 seconds in the 800-meter run. Other team highlights from this past season, our badminton team developed their roster to include over 60 student athletes, 63 to be exact, and competed at 3 levels this past year. The baseball team had an exciting season this past year and reached the IHSA regional final contest. They fell to a team, St. Rita High School, that eventually took 3rd in state this past weekend. Girls soccer took home the Glenbar South Invitational title this past spring. Our softball team had an incredible season this past spring and winning a regional championship and taking on national powerhouse Marist High School to the wire. They fell 0-1 in extra innings, and they ended up registering 27 victories on the season. I believe that's one of, if not the finest seasons the softball program has produced in several years. Tennis programs, the boys tennis program saw a tremendous increase in participation and recorded an above 500 win-loss record. So they're certainly on the right track. A lot of young new players within that program. The girls track and field program continued to improve throughout the season and recorded 14 student athletes to the Metro Suburban All-Academic team. Boys volleyball had an outstanding season by reaching the IHSA regional finals and registered 29 victories on the season. Girls water polo was ranked in the top 25 in the state during the season and concluded their season in the sectionals. The boys water polo team registered a postseason victory in taking down Argo High School at the regional level. I believe this is the first postseason victory for the boys water polo team in approximately the last 10 years. So again, they're trending in the right direction. Boys lacrosse competed at the JV level and registered 7 victories on the season. Girls lacrosse also competed at the JV level and registered a 12-1 win-loss record on the season, an impressive accomplishment for a first-year program. The Special Olympics team had 4 members compete at the state series this past weekend. So that's just, again, a brief highlight of some of our athletic teams. Next, I'll transition to our program participation updates. The spring athletic programs experienced a significant increase in participants this past season compared to the spring of 2018. We had 488 student athletes participating this past spring compared to 432 last year. The addition of boys and girls lacrosse obviously contributed to the increase in adding 41 athletes, 17 girls, 24 boys. But even without the addition of the lacrosse programs, we were still up approximately 15 student athletes on the 2019 spring season. The sports that experienced an increase in participation were girls track, badminton, boys tennis, to name a few. Girls soccer was slightly down, as was boys track. In addition to our yearly participation numbers increasing, so have our collected participation fees. Our participation fees collected are the highest they've been in the past 5 years. Excited to share that of the 488 student athletes that participated in a spring sport this past season, they produced a daily attendance rate of 95%. On a separate note, I'm also excited to share with you that this past spring, the athletic program, along with the Booster Club support, have purchased an additional NFHS Pixelec camera system for Kennelly Stadium, which will provide automated live event production, allowing families and fans to view contests remotely. We hope to have this device installed by the end of July.
You already
So-
did that in the gym, correct?
So we did that in the gymnasium. We now have the camera for outside, so even though sometimes some major contests might be produced by RBTV, freshman soccer games, lower level lacrosse games can now be showcased and produced, and those families can watch those games remotely if they choose to.
Great.
And as Kristen Smetana mentioned, yesterday signaled the official start of our various youth and high school athletic camps. That concludes my end of the report. Are there any questions?
On the third page, you had your pay to participate numbers, correct?
Correct.
And you had I don't think you had any questions submitted on that.
I don't think so. The only thing I would note was obviously for some student athletes, it's their first sport of the year, so they might be paying the $200 fee, and whereas others, it might be their third sport, so they're paying a $100 fee. So it's not like we can just quantify it and say that all of them are paying this fee or that fee. It's interchangeable based on how many activities or how many sports they participated in throughout the course of the year.
How many three-sport athletes do we have?
We had one three-sport athlete that graduated this year. In terms of the overall number of three-sport athletes, I'd have to go back and look. David Keene was the three-sport athlete that graduated this past spring. It's rare. We know it's rare, but usually, student athletes are able to do it freshman and sophomore years. Sometimes they feel the challenge to try and commit to maybe perhaps two sports. Obviously, we encourage multi-sport athletes. That's what we want. But with each passing year, it tends to become more challenging.
Can I just ask, and I know Kevin will kill me, because I know it's not a sport, but there are kids that play hockey, but they're not reported from anything. So where do those numbers go?
We should include them at the minimum of our activity report.
Because there are kids
Sure.
who play hockey who may not participate in any of the other sports.
Absolutely.
So, because hockey's such a long season, you really can't play another sport. I mean, you probably could, but it'd be really challenging.
Sure.
So, because I know they're not reported out in clubs, they're not reported out in sports.
They should be reported out in clubs. We can add that.
Well, just because there are some kids that, it would boost our participation number.
Absolutely.
But it would. I mean, I know there are not a lot of them, but.
Sure.
Well, did they use the participation fee?
No.
Does the hockey do that? No.
They pay a significant fee to play hockey, but ice time and equipment.
I can
Oh.
definitely
Okay.
speak to that.
Sure.
It's quite a bit.
Are there any sports that are contemplated on the horizon? Obviously, lacrosse was the great new sport being embraced by schools. Was there anything else that's out there that?
We treat bass fishing as a club.
Okay.
Some schools treat that as a sport. We carry 28 or 26 right now.
28.
So we're kind of hitting max capacity
Yeah, that's-
already. We've talked about the only other addition being possibly bowling. There has been some talk in the superintendent ranks, and I'm sure through the Athletic Director Association, about officially making gaming an IHSA sport.
Esports.
Esports. Because of all the attention it's got on ESPN and some of the ESPN.
It's a college
network.
major in some places.
So
Next should be having they follow Governor Poker as a sport.
So we do not have rugby. Obviously, hockey, kids can participate in a club. I think that's with 3 other schools. Nazareth, IC. Is it 3 schools total?
three.
3 schools totals.
So when is hockey's kind of season? We always report out on the accolades of each of these teams by the end of their season. When would be the most appropriate time to report out on the hockey players?
They play all year, they play
Right, it's-
September all the way through March.
May.
And then they start their spring season and they play April through June. I mean, that's why you almost can't play another sport.
Well, it's like anybody who's in club. That's why you see less 3. I mean, my daughter played
Yeah,
volleyball. She
'cause it's-
played the first season here, and then she played all the way around with a few weeks off, yeah.
We
But
probably
if they-
should include them in the spring
In the spring, maybe, because...
report between Dave and Brendan, just because at least they're done with their winter sport. 2 years ago, they won a they won a championship. I know we had the trophy on display. We got the kids shirts. So we do try to, and we have tried to improve our acknowledgement of the hockey club.
You have, I will say, you have.
They're also recognized in the yearbook and have.
Recognized in the yearbook.
in the yearbook as well.
It seems to me there's a fairly strong carryover between hockey and one sport that they do play is lacrosse.
Is lacrosse.
So there's a
Yeah, when they
handful
don't
of
play spring
players
hockey,
that
they
are
play
playing lacrosse as well.
Definitely.
So then maybe we can add them next year to, what did you say, spring?
Spring activities.
Spring, so that we can hear, like you said, when they won the conference, and we saw the trophy and, yeah.
Yeah, we brought them to the board meeting.
Yeah.
too.
Thank you.
Any other questions, Brendan, that were submitted or you need to touch on?
None that I'm aware of.
You're finishing your first year as athletic, or assistant principal of athletics. Any information you want to share with the board? It was a good first year.
Well, I think I've been blessed with a tremendous support staff, both in the athletic department office with Donna Sifferman, the guidance that Dr. Skinkis and Kristen Smetana have provided me has been instrumental in my development. They've been incredible sounding boards. So, it certainly is a grind. We know that. I knew that coming into it, but they've been extremely helpful. So when people ask me how the first year went or how the first year is going, it's went well. I think it went great, but a big part of that is given the support staff and obviously the coaching staff that we have and the support staff within maintenance and assistant coaches. I think they're unwavering in their commitment to go the extra mile for our student athletes. So really surrounded by a tremendous group of people.
Okay, thanks, Brendan.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.